Hey everyone, this is the Outcast Writer with the first vlog of my experiences playing Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia. Basically how I'm going to approach this ongoing series is for every chunk of gameplay that I had, I want to kind of give my thoughts about it. That way it kind of keeps these videos a little bit shorter and, a little more concise. So one other thing to add before I kind of jump into this is we are going to be talking full-on spoilers. This is going to be my full opinion and ideas upon how I feel about this game. So if you don't want any spoilers, this is not for you. This is just kind of like a vlog walkthrough of uh, Shadow. I guess I got Shadow Dragon on my mind of Fire Emblem Echoes. So the first thing I want to start with is when you launch the campaign. Um, there's a good intro and everything as per typical with Fire Emblem games and music as well. But the way that you start is very Fire Emblem Awakening-esque. You're giving a shot into the future, as opposed to getting a premonition, as it was referred to in Awakening, however, of seeing Chrom dying. Also, Awakening spoilers if you haven't played Awakening yet. This time, it is Alm and Celica, the two leads of this game, in what appear to be an embrace. And yet, Celica has a sword pointed out, and Alm doesn't have a sword, but apparently he had a blue electric thing because it's sticking out of Celica. And my original reaction was, oh my. And then right after that was like, why? Why are you showing me this? It doesn't really serve any point or purpose. I don't know anything about these characters. This feels like a really pivotal moment, and now you're just giving that away. You're letting that emotional shock go away. I mean, I don't know if this was in the original game. I kind of doubt it because the NES wouldn't have had the same emotional impact seeing that on the NES than it would on the 3DS. But I don't know. I never played the original, so but for me, that just kind of didn't set things off on the right foot. I'm just kind of like, okay, that's an interesting story choice, and now I know this. Of course, maybe again, this is something that doesn't happen, and kind of like in the line of Awakening, but you just don't know. There's a lot less context given to it as opposed to the premonition that you get in Awakening. There's no battling, it's just full-on cutscene. You don't know anything else about it beyond that. It's not like someone wakes up. It's just, okay, now you're going to the game. Hurrah! Let me see. One thing that was really interesting is the kid characters. Having only played Awakening and Fates, you don't see kid characters like at all. The closest thing would be like Donald from Awakening and why can I not think of her name? The villager from Fates. I can't think of her name on the birthright, but it starts with an M. I can't think of her name, but those are the only kind of like kid-esque characters, and I would really more ascribe them as like being like mid-teens. Um, well, and Hayao, he's a, I think that's his name. I feel so bad for getting these characters' names in Fates. But yeah, there's those two of those in Birthright kid-esque characters, but they're really more like mid-teens rather than real legit kids, which Alm and Gray and Celica and the rest of these kids, Faye, how they come across when we are first introduced to them. And the one real interesting thing about Fire Emblem Echoes is it kind of dives into the story quite a bit right away, as opposed to either Fates or Awakening. We're given a little bit of story, and then boom, it's battle time. It's like, no, Fire Emblem Echoes isn't afraid to talk, isn't afraid to extrapolate, expand things a little more. That was good to see. That's something that I hope that they can carry into future Fire Emblem games. I like I love the strategic gameplay, the strategy, turn-based strategy that is Fire Emblem. but I also love the RPG elements of it. The RPG elements of it is what makes it special, and kind of emphasizing that, I think, makes Fire Emblem more special. So that was something that was really neat to see. I do like the art style for the characters. However, at certain points it does come back, and it's like there's something not quite right, because it's not exactly the art style from Awakening and Fates, but it's still similar, and it still looks pretty gorgeous. So all in all, great art direction, great art style as always with Fire Emblem. Um, One thing though, talking about the art style, is conversations now, as opposed to seeing these polygon models, are just just these pictures. I don't know the technical term for them, but it's just these pictures of characters talking, and you get to see their expressions change a little bit, and that's how they converse. And while it's definitely more beautiful than, say, Awakening or Fates, so far, at least in the beginning, and I'm hoping that my feeling on this does change, but so far it feels very impersonal for me. I'm not really able to connect with characters because they feel just more like it feels more like I'm looking at pictures rather than characters who are moving and interacting, which, even though it was very limited in Awakening and in Fates, that was still going on. So it allowed me to connect on that, and a little more than it was um, just expressions, just seeing their, little headshots change and them making a few noises. Which brings me to another thing. This is fully voice acted. So far, I'm very pleased with the voice acting. I'm happy there's voice acting. That's something I definitely hope all future Fire Emblem games have. They're pulling it off so well so far, and I hope it continues. But yeah, kudos on the voice acting so far. Not that it's exceptional, but it's solid. It's pretty solid. So nothing really to complain about right now. Let me see. Of course, the music is good, as always. Looking forward to see what else they did. I have heard that it's actually kind of like a redone um, music soundtrack from the old game, as opposed to having composed new things. I could be wrong. I don't know. So far, it's just more wonderful Fire Emblem music that really makes me wish that I had been able to get the soundtrack for the collector's edition, but whatever. Collector's edition is long gone, so I will see that another day. Let me see. Um, Speaking about kind of going back to the animations and everything, when we finally get to the first battle, uh, which not really too much anything story-wise with the prologue. I'm trying to think about that's pretty much all I played, was just the prologue aspect of this game. Um, there wasn't really too much of anything in the story for me to go over right now. Basically, except that it's really extreme. The thought is like, hey, we're going into battle with these kids, and how are we going to do that? I mean, it's basically you just put them in a certain spot so they can't get hurt, and Myson just kicks butt, which, he's a total, what. Um, but he's awesome. But yeah, that was a bit, it got my heart pumping for a little bit. It's like, oh, whoa, this is right off the bat, this is pretty extreme. But it's still Fire Emblem, it's still the beginning, it still eases your way into things, so you just kind of getting a feeling, and I think it was done pretty well. But you have no real aspect of the story to talk about, except that at the end of it, end of the battle and continuing on thereafter, is Alm and Celica get separated. And that's another thing too, is that it's established that Alm and Celica are really close together. We don't really get to see that, which I'm okay with, but they establish that, okay, these two, they're kind of grown really close, but we've only known these characters for, a few minutes, and now they're being separated, and this is supposed to be a really emotional scene, but we don't have a whole bunch of emotion behind it because we don't know these characters enough. Yeah, great, you guys bonded, but we don't know you that well. We don't know why we're supposed to be upset about this. It's just two kids leaving. And oh man, I got a wee bit sad at one point, but it didn't feel real. It didn't feel like characters yet. It's just like, okay, this is something that I'm not emotionally involved with yet, and that's something that I hope they'll fix. But for the beginning of the game, for trying to hook your player, Fire Emblem Echoes isn't doing the best job in my opinion. Not that it's bad, but just not really engaging me so far. It is beautiful, it is lovely, but I haven't been hooked yet, and I was hoping to be hooked. Fates had me hooked. Awakening had me hooked. Echoes, not hooked so far, but it's a Fire Emblem game. I'm willing to. I mean, I'm playing it all the way, anyways. Um, I'm willing to go along. But yeah, that's one thing that kind of strikes me. I think that's pretty much everything. Um, so that's going to be it for my first entry. We kind of covered the prologue. These will probably get a little more ordered as I continue to do them, and as they get longer, probably, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But anyways, go ahead and feel free to leave any comments below, any helpful suggestions. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like or subscribe. I appreciate it all. This is the Outcast Writer signing off, and remember, what we create matters.